Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me on a very Miami-esque day. It has just been pouring with rain. It is now bright sunshine, but today I am taking the Shelby GT500, the new Shmeemobile, over to First Class Autosports to get started with the PPF installation. Being a new car in the garage and ahead of a big road trip, of course, we're going to be fitting paint protection film, and for the purpose, I've teamed up with SunTek to install the new SunTek Reaction paint protection film, which has the benefits of PPF and ceramic coating in one. We're going to see a lot of that later on, a bit of the process, but first, a short drive from here to First Class Autosports to get started with the GT500 PPF. I kid you not, when I set off a short moment ago from just a couple of miles away over in that direction, I was in the middle of a thunderstorm, so it is very nice to be here with the sun out in force and the grabber line paintwork looking very bright and very epic. That is of course what we're going to be protecting, everything you can see in bright green, as well as the gloss black elements like the front grille insert, the door mirror caps, the full gloss black roof, and even the exposed carbon that you have on the gigantic rear spoiler as part of the carbon fibre track package. Now all of the PPF Shmeemobiles actually have SunTek material that's been used, but none of them have the brand new SunTek Reaction PPF that we're going to be installing to this car and seeing more of later on. So we need to head on over to First Class Autosports to get the job done. That means I think the first time driving the GT500 on video on the channel. I've done a couple of 100 miles so far, just gently taking it easy, getting the car run in, but it is very, very humid here. So let's get it started up. Sounds oh so good. Yes, one of the best sounds ever. Let's get the air conditioning blasting and head on over to go get the job started. First time driving the car on camera then. So we've got the 7-speed auto. We're driving in normal at the moment, but with the mode selector just here in the center, press it up twice and you go into sport mode, which means the exhaust valve opens. And even when you drive this thing slowly, it sounds insane. The only problem is that sound is directly correlated to burning excessive amounts of fuel. I did about a tank already in 150 miles when I've been running the car in. At 500 miles it gets the oil change service, so I've been driving it very carefully up to this point to make sure that we don't get any stone chips, of course, taking it fairly easily. And I can tell you that the ride of this car is brutal. It is very, very, very solid. If we press M and just go manual for the moment though, because, I mean, listen to this as we pull it out. Give it a small, gentle acceleration. We've got the empty road here. It's so good. Right, let's take it easy. I guess we're heading back to the thunderstorms for now and then get over to the workshop. You would never ever guess from the weather that we have now that it was pouring with rain earlier. It is a lovely day, and in fact the dashboard of the car actually tells me it is 83 degrees Fahrenheit, which in Celsius is something like 26. That's actually pretty warm and very, very humid. It is always a bit of a risk though to be driving out in traffic around other cars in a car with no paint protection film, but thankfully, at least as of this morning, all was good up to this point. But ahead of everything that's to come on this trip, and obviously keeping the car in the Shmeemobiles and eventually bringing it back home, paint protection film has many times to date saved my cars from having to have paint work when they've had light things, you know, cars brushing past, people leaning against the cars, stone chips at the front. If you're driving in car convoys, supercar convoys, all of these things have very wide, very sticky rubber, flicking up all of the stones onto the front of the car behind them. But we'll get there very shortly. I think it's going to be a warm day ahead, and then, yeah, get started with the process. We are arriving then. This is exactly where we're coming to, First Class Autosports. I spot some nice things lurking outside. We will pull on in. We'll go find out what's going on. They're an authorized SunTek installer, and go get everything lined up. Just walking around here at the moment, I feel like my skin is burning. Thankfully the sun is hiding behind one single little cloud up there in the sky, but we have some very nice cars here at First Class Autosports. The guys that I met about a year ago through their My Tesla Miami division, where they do a lot of bespoke modification work and designs on Tesla cars, but of course they do many other very nice things as well. The SLS AMG, the Rolls-Royce Dawn Miami collection. I've got to show you this car quickly because it is stunning. Have a look at the pinstripe, the hand-painted stripe, and the palm tree on the side, and it's open at the moment inside with the same colours and details. Look at the embroidery on the rear seat headrest again with the palm tree. Absolutely beautiful. The Miami collection, I've never seen that before, exclusive out here. We've also got the 992 Turbo S, and we've got the Tesla with a wrap on it as well. But this car is very shortly to be heading for a wash to get all the prep side of things done, the snow foaming, prepare the surfaces, make sure it's ready to get PPF, and then it will come here into the main, or the new unit, which has actually been open since my last visit, where there are some very cool cars inside as well, and we have the new film from SunTek. So let's get it rolling. It sounds so good from the outside. The startup of the GT500, look at that colour in the sunshine though. Stupidly bright, stupidly bold, absolutely on point. Yeah, it was always going to be controversial, just needs a major clean, which is going to be step one. Like any thoroughbred sports car, the front is very, very low, but we're all good. Splitter, all fine, it is just plastic, so it's easily changeable if you ever need to, and those outer bits that you can see, the splitter wickers, as they're called, are also easily replaceable. And that's, by the way, with the exhaust in the quiet mode. It gets significantly louder, and thankfully a cloud again. Now ready to wash it down. With the intensity of the Florida sunshine, it is burning up here in Miami. This needs to be quite a quick process, so the car's had a rinse. Now it's getting a snow foam to remove some of the items that just get caught up before it will basically be brought inside to get out of the sun to be dried properly. But it's always quite fun when you see a car getting coated in snow foam, especially with the angry front end that the Shelby GT500 has. This is cool, this is very cool. There's something very therapeutic about seeing a car being washed properly. So this process will get done, then we'll get it inside. Using a clay bar pad then over all of the surfaces just to go over them, but obviously being a new car, the paintwork is in very good shape to begin with, so just a small amount of the preparation really required so that it's completely ready then for the next stages. The car gets a rinse down, it will get another layer of snow foam just after. Starting to look good. And just as I discussed in my video of 10 unusual things about the GT500, the shape of the rear wing would very much have the tendency to collect water if it was not for these drainage holes that it has at each end, unlike the wing on the center, which doesn't have those, so thankfully it's all drained out. Another round of snow foam then on the GT500, although I'm pretty sure we've come today for some transparent PPF to keep the bright green. Of course, snow foam does have a purpose. It is not a white wrap. It is all about helping with the thicker consistency of the snow foam as opposed to just a rinse with water, to pull out any loose dirt that might be stuck in the panel gaps or any of the crevices around the car, to ultimately make it easier so that you don't get that stuck on the underside of the PPF material when you are then fitting it and installing it to the car. This is one of the only times you'll see snow in Florida. After another rinse down to complete things, like the wheels be taken straight inside to get it out of the direct sunshine. Sounds oh so good, the 5.2 litre supercharged V8. So this now goes inside. Things like the carbon wheels, obviously we get a little bit of a treatment. Listen to that. The Cobra badge, worn centre of the rear on that gloss black section. Obviously the black and the lime green sections will all get finished. It just sounds oh so sweet. This is quite fun. As well as using microfiber towels, my Cobra car is getting dried with a lime green Super Snake. Very appropriate for a Shelby Mustang, hey? To get that done as part of the drying process. My car is just coming around, but I told you it would be here in some pretty epic company at First Class Autosports. We have one of the first BMW M2 CSs over here. I think one of potentially the very first M440i, a Tesla Model S Performance. My car is coming on in right now, looking fantastic, cleaned up, ready for its paint protection film, but it is not the only Ford Performance product here, because around the corner, check out this Ford GT, a new car being PPF'd in full. We've got the bright yellow with the orange racing stripes. I think that's almost, if not, a totally unique configuration. Coming in as well, the 992 Turbo S, I think to get some PPF on that too. And then over here, we have the films from SunTek. This is the brand new SunTek Reaction paint protection film being used for one of the first times with its new top layer, with its hydrophobic qualities for water to bead off. It will help reject against stains. It will make the car easier to clean, and I'm looking forward to seeing the results of this. But I'll maybe also need to consider SunTek window films. We're in Florida after all, so we could tint the car. I think it'll look pretty good, especially with all of the gloss black parts that you can see around. These will be getting film, the roof as well, all of the green. This is going to look very good when it's out in the sunshine. I cannot wait. It is time to start the installation, kicking off with the bonnet or the hood, which has been prepared in advance. So the first step is to go over it with an alcohol-based solution to fully clean it, to go around things, for example, like the hood pins that hold it down, to go all the way around the vent, to fully investigate as well, to find any defects. And I know what you're thinking, it is a brand new car, it should be perfect, but unfortunately, pretty much all cars that go down a production line do have their paintwork done by robots, which do leave a few little issues around, whether it's a Ford Mustang from the Flat Rock plant, or whether it's a Ferrari, a McLaren, or a Lamborghini, or whatever it may be. And this is no different, just some small things. It helps to find these before installing the PPF, because they mean if you see the defects later on, that they're actually underneath the surface. So for example, you can probably just spot the little pit mark we have at the top of that little arrow. And then over this side, this one's harder to see, but there's a little line in the paint that we have just there at the end, just small little things. Otherwise though, it looks like I've got away fairly well with my driving that I've done up to this point, with no significant impacts to the front. What we need to do now though is get the film installed. The guys are preparing the material, wetting down the surface to ensure it can be moved around. The entire front end of the car has already had that done, to obviously help with static as well, but this is made out of urethane. It's a special new setup that SunTek have created, and that will go into place. Test fit to begin, to see exactly how this is going to work. But the crazy thing I always find is that this is going to transform into something that you cannot see is even here on the front of the car at all. Of course, I've seen the process a few times with a few of the Shmeemobiles before now, but I always find it fascinating how this evolves. Obviously, the top side of the surface is all wetted down as well to ensure that any squeegees or anything used don't damage or leave any marks on the film itself. But obviously, a bit of a game of trying to work out the best way to install it, to go over the different shapes and curves that you have, especially with a piece like this that curves from front to back as well as from left to right of the car. Next up comes using some fixed solution. So there was the slip solution that was used earlier, but this will help when the material is pulled into place to use the squeegee to effectively lock it down and lock it into position. As you can see, pinning from the edge to then work back towards the middle to work around the different shapes. I think, like I said earlier, this is a very therapeutic process to watch as the film that is currently effectively bubbled over the top of the paint surface is going to evaporate and disappear, and you won't have any clue what's there when it's all been finalized and fully installed. You can see just even now the bubbles moving around, being taken out, and look at that, going down perfectly. Moving over to the other side, same process again, squeegeeing out the contents from underneath the material, and afterwards we'll be able to see exactly how this looks. You can already see the water running away off it. One of the benefits of this being the new ceramic coating like top surface that this material now has. With the curvature over the front, a bit of fixed solution is used here as well, just to help pull all the material down, to stick it down into place. You can start to see how all of this is taking shape over the entire front end of the car. And one interesting thing about this car in particular is that all of the panels are very large, from the bumper here to the bonnet to the fenders to the doors to the whole quarter panel. Obviously the gigantic panel that runs all the way from the A-pillar over the top around the back of the car. Probably the smallest panels are the central section here up on the spoiler. We're going to be doing all of these edges, because even here you'll be amazed how many stones can go over the car with the aero profile and catch either the lead edge of the wing or the tail edge towards the back with the way that it hooks back up as well. Obviously you can't apply film to these plastic parts. Maybe in the future I'll upgrade these to get some carbon fiber diffuser parts and side skirts and those kind of things. Pretty much whatever we do, this is always going to be filled with stones, so perhaps I'll look at what to do down here to make sure it's protected down that way. This is really starting to come together, give us a good impression of what the final result is going to look like. One of the tests here is to use some water with some ink in it to see the hydrophobic qualities that you can see of this. So the fact that we've got the beading with the water drops sitting on the top is something that you don't normally see on this kind of material. This is part of the SunTek Reaction paint protection film that mixes the ceramic coating type effect that you have on the top surface, and you can see exactly how this is just beading down off the edges of the bonnet here, looking just like it's been freshly finished, looking fantastic. It's really interesting to see this actually, and how the beads move around on the surface and the finish and the quality that you have from it. And look, with the drops on the surface, you can even blow them away a little bit. Now, as a very interesting comparison, on the hood of the M2 CS here, there is a different brand of paint protection film already installed. To show you what this looks like without having the new SunTek Reaction style with a ceramic coating finish, you can instantly see that the water here just is not beading in the same way. You don't get that beautiful effect of the water drops as they slide off the surface. Instead, I mean, it just looks like it's not fully finished, and as a result, you have a different image and a different appearance of the top coat to begin with. That's what it would normally be like, completely different to what we've just seen from the beading on the SunTek Reaction. Just back over to the Mustang again, and you can see how this is beading on the surface. It's actually incredible, the difference. Obviously, the height of the droplets just sitting a little bit higher than otherwise, and the advantages of this are that the car will repel dirt effectively more. It'll be easier to clean going forwards. And look at the way it just moves around, and if we run quickly from here back over to just show you the difference again, you can see how that is quite simply not the same. It just doesn't have the same finish and effect off it at the end of the day. And that is where we're going to be leaving things for now, almost completed with the installation of the first large panel in the form of the bonnet or the hood. I'm still not sure exactly what I should be calling it. All that remains to complete that part is to go around tucking in all of the edges. Those are intentionally left open overnight to allow it to dry out before they'll be affixed into place. When that's done, it's a case of working the way all the way around the car, from the grille insert to the bumper to the fenders to the side skirts, the doors, the mirror caps, the A-pillars to the quarter panels, the roof, the trunk lid, the bumper, and the carbon fibre spoiler, and anything else that I might have missed along the way, to ensure that we have full coverage paint protection film to give some of those benefits that we've seen, but also some of the traditional benefits of PPF over not having it on a car. For example, protection against stone chips. If you get a stone that pings up from the car in front and hits your bumper, or maybe up on the bonnet, you run the risk of having a chip in the paintwork, which could be a nightmare to match, needing a respray that's blended into different panels. In the case of this though, it could just bounce off. Perhaps it leaves a very small mark on the film, which might be able to come out through its self-healing properties. At worst, maybe you replace the film, stick on a new piece, and you're back in action as you were before. Talking of self-healing, remember on a car, if you go to wash it, perhaps somewhere at the side of the road, maybe they use a dirty cloth, and that ends up putting some light scratches and swirls on the car. The beauty of the self-healing film, with heat either being out in the sun or hot water on it, is that those completely vanish, and you're left with a perfect looking car as a result. The other is that if, let's say, the worst happens and you get a little bit of damage, as I've experienced before with the bumper on actually more than one of my cars from other vehicles, whether it's parking, whatever it may be, you might find that just a clean of the film or even replacing the film fixes it with no extra paintwork required, which is always an absolute blessing. So I'm going to be leaving the car in the hands of the team here at First Class Autosports, who are going to be carrying on the work with the PPF before we return for the installation of the two Shelby stripes. Now, to give you a quick sneak preview of what we're going to be doing using SunTek's altered black paint protection film. This is PPF, not vinyl. It has an exceptional piano black-like finish, perfect quality. It's going to look incredible, and in fact, we used this before for the stripes on my AMG GTR Pro, so they're going to look brilliant when they're on this car, and there might be a few other small details as well, so stay tuned to what we're going to be doing with that. For now, I can't wait for the finished result to really get the car out on the roads for my extended road trip, knowing that it's protected. To be honest, I've hugely appreciated that comfort that it offers in the past, and I know I'm going to enjoy it with this car out in the open for some of the things and plans that I have with it ahead. For now though, a big thanks again to the team here at First Class Autosports. A big thanks as well to SunTek for supporting the PPF installation on the newest of the Shmeemobiles. I can't wait to get back to get those stripes installed and to get the car out on the roads. That's it for this time though. Thank you very much for watching. As always guys, your support is hugely appreciated, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers!